The one thing that I have this strange notion, we are a democracy. Some of my Republican friends and some of my Democratic friends even occasionally say, well, if you can't get the votes by executive order, you're going to do something. Things you can't do by executive order unless you're a dictator. We're a democracy. We need consensus.
President Biden spent his first full day in office signing 10 executive orders related to COVID-19, including setting up a pandemic testing board, keeping workers safe, and expanding access to care and treatment for the virus.
Our national strategy is comprehensive. It's based on science, not politics. It's based on truth, not denial, and it's detailed. Some of my Republican friends and some of my Democratic friends even occasionally say, well, if you can't get the votes by executive order, you're going to do something.
His plan starts with the vaccination campaign, 100 million shots in the first 100 days in office. He also ordered mask requirements on airplanes, ships, trains, intercity buses, and public transportation. Even though airlines and Amtrak already require masks, this makes it a federal mandate. Biden also mandated masks on federal property.
Many of the things that Joe Biden signed today are pure reversals of executive actions that Donald Trump took. So think about it as the pendulum swinging, the flip of a switch, things like putting the U.S. back in the Paris Climate Accord or redirecting all federal agencies to begin diversity training again. Pretty simple directives, but very powerful and impactful moves that are the exact opposite of what Donald Trump did. Several of the orders Joe Biden signed today created new government positions in the executive branch to oversee COVID response. One order extends financial relief to millions of Americans with evictions and student loan debts. Now, these orders do carry the force of law, but they're not actually laws. These are, think of them like rules or policies that can be easily changed and put in place. The mask mandate is one of those. It was a requirement by many airlines to wear a mask in the sky. Now it's federal law to do that based on what he signed today. And one of the more controversial moves was he rescinded a federal permit for the Keystone Pipeline, that major gas pipeline from Canada. That's something that's getting a lot of praise from environmentalists tonight, Lindsay, but some blowback from the energy industry. Now, things like creating a public option, that pathway to citizenship we've been hearing about for 11 million undocumented immigrants, even canceling the contracts for constructing the border wall with Mexico. Those are things that Joe Biden cannot do on his own. He does need congressional approval for those things, and as we've discussed here recently, it's going to be a tough uphill climb with such a narrowly divided Congress.
Things you can't do by executive order unless you're a dictator.
There are some added items in there that he's going to have a real tough time getting through that really aren't part of COVID relief. He'll have to separate those out.
The president signed 2 more executive actions a day after unveiling his economic recovery plan, addressing the ripple effects of the pandemic. One directs government agencies to find ways to pay all federal workers and contractors a minimum wage of $15 an hour. The other urging the Agriculture Department to boost pandemic food benefits for low-income families by 15%.
I've had the great pleasure and honor of spending a fair amount of time with President Xi when President Hu and President Obama thought the 2 vice presidents should get to know one another, and we ended up spending about 10 days together, 5 in each of our countries, traveling around, and you get to know someone fairly well. When I congratulated him on his elevation, I asked if he could possibly help me.